All right, let's talk Jake Fromm for a second. Yes, I'm going to make a video on Jake Fromm, and I totally acknowledge it's maybe a little bit silly to do so because we've barely seen anything of Jake Fromm. We saw him take 13 snaps. He threw for 11 of them, and then he completed 6 passes for 82 yards. So the numbers aren't going to get us very far when talking about Jake Fromm. But watching the tape, I actually kind of liked what I saw from him. And Fromm is someone who has not been a guy I was a huge fan of coming out of college. I still have some concerns about his arm strength. I think that's fair. If you watched him at Georgia, you would agree, okay, yeah, arm strength, not exactly spectacular. Like, that's not what he's known for. He's known for making smart decisions and just running an offense. And I thought he did that well, albeit against a team that was kind of trying to keep stuff in front of them. So let's get into the film. All right, so it should be mentioned that a big chunk of what Jake Fromm was able to do well was just stuff like this, where it's zone coverage and to have a little zone buster where you're going to have someone kind of sit down in between two Cowboys players coverage spots, and then you have 2 other players kind of just spread out in between there. Basically 3 Cowboys and only 2 Giants to cover. Someone's going to get open. Watch how when Fromm takes the snap, you're going to notice right here, there is an easy opening. And to Fromm's credit, he sees this. And this is what Fromm did well in college, was he was a guy who could just read an offense and make the correct read. That's what people liked about Jake Fromm, was stuff like that. And as you see, Fromm is going to just throw this one there, and you get some yards. And again, the criticism of Fromm is not that he cannot throw checkdowns. That is certainly not the criticism, but it's still nice to see that at the NFL level he can do that. Something like this is interesting, where what's going to happen here is it's going to be zone coverage, and you have it's a cover 2 zone, in fact. And again, it's going to be the route that's kind of in, you call it like sort of the honey hole. It's going to be underneath the safety, but just past the corner. You also have a halfback running a check down route, which hopefully gets the corner to move in, extending that gap a little bit for Fromm to be able to make this throw. And watch how when Fromm takes the snap, you see, okay, corner does crash in. The safety is still further deep here, so you can make this throw if you want to. Still not a totally easy throw to make. I mean, you have to throw it over a corner here. That's Trayvon Diggs, too, who, you know, if you underthrow this, it's going to get intercepted. However, still, Fromm gets it there, and you're able to pick up some yards right there. So again, there's value in this. There's value in a quarterback who will just make the right read and can throw accurately. No one's saying Jake Fromm is going to be Justin Herbert. Well, actually, people, I think some people had Jake Fromm over Justin Herbert in the draft, just given the, how low people were on Herbert. That totally wasn't me. I was totally a big fan of him all the way. Okay, no, just kidding. I wasn't a big fan of Herbert either, although I at least didn't go that far. Anyways, something like this is another way that they were able to just move the ball down the field. I mean, Dallas was definitely playing sort of off. Like, they knew that they were winning. They're just trying to say, hey, let's not give up anything over the top. This is going to be a great example of that, where basically, quite frankly, the Giants are taking advantage of that. You have 3 receivers run deep routes, and then you just hit the check down. That's the way this play is designed. And as you see, that's exactly what Fromm is going to do. He lets the 3 receivers run deep, hits the check down, just gaining some yards. It's nothing crazy, but again, it's the whole you can't go broke making a profit thing, and for a young quarterback playing in his first NFL game, at least he's not making mistakes. I know this is a small bar to clear, it's nothing crazy, but again, I had a very low expectation of Jake Fromm coming out of college, so just this stuff is nice to see. And I thought he did make some impressive throws, like this one. So again, it's going to be similar to the one I showed you against cover 2. This time it's a cover 3 zone blitz, so you expect the gap to be a little bit bigger. However, if you play better defense, then the gap is smaller, obviously. That's how that works. And I think one of the criticisms, and the fairest criticism of Jake Fromm, is just not a big arm. You would watch him in college. He had a small arm for a college quarterback, let alone for an NFL quarterback. So the idea was, can he really push the ball down the field? He does all the other stuff well, but having a big arm still does matter in the NFL. That's a very important trait. Someone like Patrick Mahomes is far from the most accurate quarterback in football, but he does so much other stuff well that he's won a Super Bowl MVP and a regular MVP already in his career. Anyways, watch when this play begins, and you see right here, there is a smaller gap. So this is kind of the thing where you do have to push this ball down the field a little bit, and you have to be accurate when you do it. And while I do talk a lot about big arm, if you can be accurate, you can still make things work. I mean, listen, that's what people sort of say about Tua, right? All the Tua fans are, hey, okay, maybe there's guys with bigger arms, and to be clear, I think Tua has a bigger arm than Fromm, But, you know, the idea, it's still the same argument of if you can at least be accurate, you can have a lot of success in football. Well, that is true, and if Fromm can be accurate on display, then he can have some success. And watch this throw. I mean, that's a beautiful throw. Like, that's a great throw. Like, that's legitimately, if I was a PFF grader, I would rate that as like a big-time throw because that's really difficult to do. Now, again, did it take some time to get there? Sure, but if you can be accurate, it kind of works both ways. You know, if you're inaccurate, doesn't matter if you got it there in 1 second, it's going to be incomplete. So there you go. That's the logic behind it. And then there's something like this, where this is fascinating as well. This is going to be a man coverage play, and this is really just letting your receiver have a chance. But still, there's some value in a guy who's willing to do that as well, because this is a one-on-one matchup. It's Kenny Golladay who's running deep, who's a good receiver, who he's someone you want to hit, and only a single safety deep. So yeah, why not take a chance here? Fromm is simply just going to take the snap and just throw it up, and look, Kenny Golladay makes the play. So you get a big completion there. Is that mostly a Kenny Golladay highlight? I mean, it's almost entirely a Kenny Golladay highlight, but you could say, hey, good for Fromm for giving his guy a chance. I think that's something you could say. Am I kind of being a bit like patting him on the back for doing stuff that isn't too hard? Yeah, I think so, but he made some good throws on top of it and has at least shown to me, like, okay, I'm interested. I want to see you in more NFL games. I don't know how much more, but give him a start. Let's get a bigger sample size, and let's see, was this just he got lucky on a couple plays, or can he actually do some things? I find it pretty fascinating. So yeah, I mean, that's what we saw. One thing I didn't really mention in the video, but that was also true, was I thought that once his first read wasn't open, got a little bit of happy feet, started moving around a little bit. He took a sack where he kind of was, or I can't remember if it was a sack or just a pressure, where he was kind of just a little bit surprised by it, which, again, that little stuff is going to happen for a guy playing in his first NFL game. You definitely saw a little bit of those moments. But as a whole, like, this is much better than I would have expected Jake Fromm to come in and play. So personally, I would like to see him play another game. Like, I think that he's earned that right to play another game. I'm certainly more interested in seeing him play another game than Mike Glennon play another game. Like, with all due respect to Mike Glennon, he's just not that interesting to me. I kind of know who Mike Glennon is. Jake Fromm, at least, like, I'm like, hey, what can he do? Can he be a quality backup quarterback? I still don't know about his ceiling, but if he can be a quality backup, like, that would be a good find if you're the Giants. At least something comes out of this season. So, but yeah, that's what I thought. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.